Hi guys, this is Friday, March 29th. I'm going to bring you some information today that's pretty important stuff. What I'm going through is hell. My child's been taken by a criminal organization that includes her father. I haven't seen her for over 2 years, and I've lost everything in the fight. None of my family have looked at the evidence that I have. The corrupt court hasn't looked at any of the evidence I have. And now they're trying to get me to go to some shelter, some organization, because they think I need help, because I'm homeless. In other words, I'm dealing with brainwashed people who are not accepting the fact that there's people that are getting their organs harvested. There are people getting their brains chipped and programmed, especially for people like me who think for ourselves. So, let's see if I can show you some of this information. This is the place they wanted to take me to. Anyways, this shade tree. So, they help women, children, and animals. Oh. Offer life-changing services. That's for sure. Promoting stability, dignity, and self-reliance. We accomplish this by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of community partners and donors. This is the only vision. Self-reliance for every woman and child. Self-reliance. You know, that makes me think. What's the definition of self-reliance? Come on. Come now. My computer's all slow because it's been hacked and stuff like that. It's just bullshit. Reliance on one's own capabilities, judgments, or resources. Reliance on one's own abilities. Assigned task in an independent, resourceful, self-sufficient manner to do one's job without making a fuss. That's it right there. That's what they want. Self-reliance for every woman and child. In other words, do what we tell you to do. Okay? That's what they mean by it. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, right? In other words, I'm not self-reliant. I've been assaulted. I had everything. If you didn't steal my child through a corrupt court, we wouldn't be here. I'd had everything. And you broke my heart in the meantime. So this is an absolute RICO operation that's involving all these components. So all of them keep their hands clean. And this is the place that's supposed to finalize that for me. That's what I know. No one should ever have to endure a state of homelessness, existing in fear for personal safety and without the means to meet even the most basic of human needs, food and shelter. Yeah, you need it. This is just sick. This guy, Phil Tobin, I wonder how old you think he looks. Look, he's gone through all of this. He's done 4 years there and 6 years there, the top of his game. Also the president of the academy. Also toxicology excellence and research analysis. Also a retired Air Force officer of 22 years, which, by the way, Air Force in 22 is like those secret programs. As deputy branch chief of the radio frequency bioeffects branch. Come on. That's the guy who studied the mind programming stuff. He's been involved in clinical practice also for more than 21 years. In various disciplines, from family practice to emergency needs, medicine. In other words, what he's saying is, for all you trustees out there or people who are trying to get rid of your family members that, you know, they're just kind of in the way of what you need, they're in the way of whatever you're after, we'll take care of it here. We'll file to bind them. Binary. 6 and 4 is 10. I mean, you just got to look at these little secrets that the Luciferian language is hidden in plain sight right in front of you. Just in case you wanted to know a little more about him. He's also married with 5 children, 3 grandkids, 2 dogs, and 1 orange cat. Witchy cat. 2, 5, 3, 2, 1, 13. She looks creepy. I could have sworn I've seen 3 of her somewhere. These people all just look like assholes. Pardon my French, all you guys, but I'm not falling for it, not for a damn second. That's all there is to it. The people that they're involved with, what do they do with the pets? I mean, come on. Now let's find out, well, how much does this place cost? I mean, is it free for everybody? Well, no. Remember, these people aren't taking themselves there. Nobody's taking themselves there. They're being brought there. They're being brought there. A safe place for women and children. Look at all these things they help you with. Day shelter, weather shelter, case management, service center, transitional shelter, mental health service coordination, housing assistance. Look at all these wonderful things that they do for people. And it helps domestic violence. Look, a safe place for women. In other words, it's a jail. See that? They're like, this is a safe place. A jail. There's no windows. You don't get to look out that. That's a goddamn jail. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Who we help. Open to any woman with or without children, and male and female unaccompanied youth, of course. The kids. Well, aren't there men that suffer from domestic violence too? That's what they, when I went to get a domestic violence order against him, they didn't file mine and filed one against me. And then arrested me under false charges. But apparently it's just white Caucasian, women, they're not even saying anything. This is just disgusting, you guys. We provide services for homeless and abused women and children, victims of domestic violence. It does not matter how they come to us. Oh, wait, here we go. Women are sad and fearful when they first come to the shade. Family and friends sometimes bring women and children to the shelter when they can no longer care for them. What do you mean? Against their will? Some women and children are brought to the shelter by our Metro Police. What, against their will? Local doctors, nurses, and hospitals refer people to the shade. Why don't the family and the friends and the police refer them to them? Because this is where you take your kidnapped family members that have to be killed. That's what it is. Okay? Other social service agencies and churches refer women and children. Right, so those people refer them. These ones are taken there. Okay? Bring them in. Brought. Sometimes they're just coming off the streets. It doesn't matter how, though. We provide services for homeless and abused women, regardless. Look, domestic violence, victims of street violence, gang violence, victims of elder abuse, physically, mentally disabled, female veterans, the working poor, and the homeless youth. In other words, we want all your bodies. We got something for it. We could do something with them, all right? No matter. No one's immune. Wow. That's so nice of you guys. That's really what it is. It's very, very nice. So let's see. They just take anybody and everybody. Well, I told my mom, I said, well, how are you going to pay for this? Because I'm not going to pay for anything. Oh, yeah. They request monetary contributions. See, however you choose to give your help. But see, then they might just be donating the body then, I guess, at that point. Because it's $40 a day for either a woman or a child, $280 a week, $1,120 a month, or $3,360 for the idea of the 90-day program. That's what my mom is using. It's absolutely sickening. That's more money than an apartment. Watch, I'm going to have so much fun. Hold on, just one second. Okay, so here I just went to, for example, Craigslist, just to take from the top of my head, right? How much would it cost? Because the thing is that I had said to my mom, if you're going to help me out, help me, because I don't need to go to any place. You guys are just out of your freaking mind, and otherwise it's going to prove that you guys are trying to harm me. Not only is my daughter in harm's way, and you guys won't look at it, I'm in harm's way, and you won't look at it. I haven't done anything to deserve this, and no one will prove it or say anything that's of value. So I feel like I'm in a time vortex of creepiness. This is, what do they call it? That one zone, the Twilight Zone. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. Because, if you're going to help me, look what it would cost. Just rent a room in a nice big home for $550 a month. Okay? So for $1,200, the price to stay at this bed. Oh, I've got to show you that article. Let me go there first, actually. This is really important. Look at this article. Unhealthy and unregulated conditions in local shelters draw complaints. Look at this place. It's jail. These are just shoving people in and out. I got jail. Did you see that place? Look, what are those uniforms? Is that what that is? The Shade Tree, describing itself as the only 24-hour accessible shelter designed specifically to meet the needs of women and children. But women and children staying at the shelter is also exposed to excessive black mold, suffering respiratory-related illnesses. And they've filed complaints. And as Stacy Lockhart, the executive director, says, there's no mold. Unfortunately, we do have women who stay here that aren't necessarily the happiest because they're not getting everything they want. You know, we are a shelter. We're not a luxury hotel. Right, asshole. And that's the kind of mouth that an asshole would have, not a freaking person who actually helps people. Okay? Point in case. If Shade Tree were a luxury hotel, as the journalist points out, luxury or otherwise, it would be subject to regular inspections, right, by the SN, the Southern Nevada Health District. But the shelter is exempt from these inspections that are routine for other public accommodations. Isn't that coincidental? Wow, look, Lockhart says the facility was tested, but none was found, even though she didn't provide any records. No records. Complaints ended up taking from 2013 to 2015 and then just got blown off by them. It was just misstated. Delayed in response and health conditions for 2 whole entire years by 96% capacity, and I think they said they had 184 beds, 24 hours any time of the year. There's a lot of people being subjected to these conditions, and they don't have to be regulated. They'll take women, they'll take kids, they'll take animals, they'll take elders, they'll take this and that issues, those and these issues, and they're not regulated. They don't have to be licensed. Well, isn't that interesting? That's just interesting. Let's see here. People staying at the local shelters describe barely habitable facilities, rife with filth, bed bugs, mold, roaches, food contamination, soap scum, unhealthy temperatures, roof leaks, the smell of sewage, and other noxious odors. And the health department officials say they're powerless to do much about it. Shelter health and safety standards are nearly non-existent. What? We don't have any legal authority. Yeah, you do, as a human being. Does anybody know what the word mandated reporter means? Mandated reporter. So these people are welcoming children in. Remember those unaccompanied male and female youth who have no adequate place to stay. In other words, come here, little kid. You want some candy? Come over here. They're freaking pedophiles luring anyone and everyone in so that they can sell their body parts, sell them to slavery, program their mind, whatever. And I'm not making exaggerated claims. Follow me. Let's see what they say here. The SNHD regulates and monitors public health, has no jurisdiction over homeless shelters, which is what they call themselves. They've just hit all of the financial, boxes to get themselves perfectly situated for this particular kind of crime. They say even if it's a public space, we don't have legal authority. Okay, we can't go in and do things. They don't want to have it. Kitchens are not required to obtain food permits. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's just a violation in and of itself. It's just disgusting. And if I was to sell burritos in a parking lot, $5 a piece, and somebody got sick from it, someone could call the police and charge me with something. The point is you have a duty to be using your brain, a moral duty to society. If you plan on being a person of society, you have to not do certain things. It's just an aggravation to society in and of itself. So now you've got an organization that's making money, acting like it's there to help people, but charging more money than it would cost to go get your own liberty. Hello? Does that make sense? But they don't have to be regulated. So it's not like you're getting quality health care. It's not like you're getting quality living environments. You're getting diseases because you're stacked up so high like you're in jail. This is the jail that's not jail, guys. That's what it is for all of the people that bother you. Those kids of yours, those elders of yours, those people that have emotions that we don't want to talk about. We're going to have them called something by these cabal. We're going to make sure that they are called mentally crazy, emotionally unstable. That's what we're going to do. But guess what, guys? They can't prove a damn thing. So you better not let them get your clutches on you because they're going to bring you there themselves. And you're going to be given to a place where they're going to take your brain away. I ran into somebody last night who said, my dad went there and he hasn't been the same since. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Because that's what they've got those facilities on the second and third floors to do, undercover guises. Okay? And this is just this is an epidemic is what's going on. And this is This is covert murder that's using multiple people to conduct this process, so nobody gets to get their hands clean. Nobody gets to see the big picture. They just see their one little compartmentalized thing they've been brainwashed to believe. Now, will they ever prove anything? No. Will they ever have a conversation with you? No. Will they divert those things? Yes, all the time. And do you want to know what that's called? Wait, let me just finish this article real quick. I wanted to show you one thing. What that Lockhart said of the fact that they have to have a confidentiality clause in their intake process that prevents people staying in the shelter from reporting issues to outside sources. That's any outside source, meaning you can't even scream for help to someone walking by on the street. Taking photos inside the shelter is prohibited and can end in being dismissed. Dismissed. That's another interesting use of words. This is what Lockhart said, quote, "When women go out and do that, it doesn't help me help anyone else in this building." She sounds like a royal bitch. Okay. She also added that these rules are put in place to protect women because of the nature of the facility, which can house victims of domestic violence. Okay. Those domestic violence victims need to have their privacy, which is why we're allowed to kill you behind closed doors and nobody gets to know about it. Yeah, that's what's going on here, guys. This is a freaking epidemic. The homeless people would rather sleep outside. It's preferable to staying in there because they fear they're going to get a disease like tuberculosis. They'd rather sleep on the street than in the shelter. What does that tell you, people? Usually at 96% capacity throughout the year. Yeah, that's where we send our undesirables is the term that they use in trust law. And this is an absolute premeditated crime. And I'm not going to go down like that. I'm not allowing anybody to murder me. I'm not allowing anybody to do this. And guess what? Everyone's going to be held accountable for trying to do this to me if that's what they plan on doing. So it's under new leadership. They closed it down in 2017. They basically painted it, slapped it, a new name on it and said, we're back in business, guys. You guys are creeps. But back to what I wanted to tell you was these tactics that they use. It's called psychological manipulation. You might be familiar with any of it. They use tactics such as, if it would load any time now. Give me a second. Psychological manipulation. Again, this touchless type of terror is what the campaigns are. Okay? So, the kind of psychological manipulation that are used against people, because that's the kind of, all they have to do is lie and, do this kind of conduct towards you, and it's all intended to make you act crazy. It's a type of social influence that aims to change the behavior or perception of others through indirect, deceptive, underhanded tactics. By advancing the interests of the manipulator, often at another's expense. Such methods could be considered exploitative and devious. Social influence. So let's see what some of the ways that they do it. Concealing aggressive intentions and behaviors, knowing the psychological vulnerabilities of the victim to determine which tactics are effective. And these people also have to have a sufficient level of ruthlessness to be able to have no problem causing harm to the victim that may end up resulting. They have to be able to care less. Whatever ends up happening happens. Well, yeah, no. So what do? Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, partial reinforcement. Punishment includes nagging, yelling, silent treatment, intimidation, emotional blackmail, guilt tripping. They lie. Okay. Lying by omission, a very subtle form of lying by withholding a significant amount of truth. Yep. Denial. That's all they do. No, it's not. That's not happening. It's not true. Your stories. Right. That's a simple freaking mental tactic. I have evidence I could prove, but no one wants to sit down and look at it because they'll see the truth. Remember, out of sight, out of mind. Well, that's what's going on here. It's also called rationalization, an excuse made by the manipulator for inappropriate behavior. Like, your child's not being abused. Well, you can't say that unless you can't. You don't just blow things off like that. And I have evidence to support it. What's up with that? These people that love children, I don't believe it. Not for a damn bit. I'm the child that's an adult now, but still it never mattered. Minimization. That's not really happening, right? This is a type of denial coupled with rationalization. They assert that their behavior is not as harmful or irresponsible as someone else was suggesting. Let's see here. Diversion. Manipulator not giving a straight answer. I've dealt with that all day long by my mother. Evasion, similar to diversion, but giving irrelevant, rambling, vague responses. Exactly. That's what I've dealt with. Covert intimidation, throwing the victim into the defense by using veiled threats. Exactly. Okay, this is exactly what I'm dealing with. Guilt tripping, shaming. Okay, uses sarcasm and put downs to increase fear and self-doubt in the victim. That's right. That's right. Subtle tactics, shaming tactics, fierce looks, unpleasant tones, rhetorical comments, okay? Things done in the background. They're trying to make you feel ashamed. They're trying to make you feel, and they're trying to make you feel scared to even challenge them, okay? Vilifying the victim. More than any other, this tactic is a powerful means of putting the victim on the defense while simultaneously masking the aggressive intent of the manipulator. While the manipulator falsely accuses the victim as being an abuser, in response, when the victim stands up for or defends themselves in their position. Okay? Playing the victim. I'm scared of you. No, I should be scared of you. You want to put me in a freaking place. Okay? This is creepy. Seduction can be used, projecting the blame, right? Scapegoats. I'm familiar with that one right there. Oh God, it's just, often the manipulator will project their own thinking onto the victim. Okay, that's left and right. They accuse you of what they are up to, and they make sure they do it first, so that way, what my child's father did once was he attacked me in the bathroom. I luckily got the door closed and took a shower. I came out, he said, the police will be here. I said, what? Come to find out, he called the police and accused me of attacking him. I'm like, so the cops get there, they go, so what happened? You attacked him. I go, no, he attacked me. Okay, bottom line is, okay, then I guess if both you guys attacked each other then, both of you guys can file charges, both of you guys can go to jail, or we can just leave and call it a day. Which means basically, of course, I'm not going to press charges. I don't want to go to jail also and have to deal with that nonsense of his false accusation. So I end up having to say, never mind, gotta go by. Now I can't even bring the matter up again. So what did he do? He accomplished getting me to basically say to the cops, it's not an issue anymore. But at the same time, it creates a record that makes it look like you never know what happened, right? Right? Exactly. This is false records, false charging, framing. They frame you. And these people are psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists, bottom line. And they're satisfied with their little cartel neighborhoods, with their little happy little bubble. And that's fine if it didn't harm other people, but it does. Vulnerability is exploited by manipulators. Well, I'm not very vulnerable when it comes to it. I'll say it left and right. I love, so the disease to please, addiction to earning the approval of others. I don't really suffer from any of these kinds. They're just straight throwing me under the bus because they don't like being told the truth. They don't like the fact that there's got to be some kind of motive here. And I think it's money. It doesn't make sense any other way. Okay. Motivations, the need to advance their own purposes, a strong need to attain feelings of power, a want and need to feel in control, a desire to gain a feeling of power over others, boredom, covert agenda, criminal or otherwise, including financial manipulation. Exactly. Okay, so this is what's going on, guys. And this is not only, yes, and it proves that they have personality disorders, the kind of people, this is the kind of stuff that they do. Gaslight, fear-mongering, mind control, mobbing, lying, victim blaming. All of this stuff is not a secret, and I'm not the only one that's going through it. Especially am I not the only one that's going through it. Let me tell you how it's also happening in our real world. Look at this. Crisiscast.com. Our media trainer specialisms include social media, high-level strategic communications, in-house filmmaking, and online news media. We include live role play from professional actors who undergo psychological training with our own in-house behavioral psychologist, Katie Babel-Een. By maintaining an overview of the total training requirement, we're able to maximize the longevity of each delivery through seamlessly blending the learning across live, filmed, and facilitated content. In other words, if you want to buy a slave or order some organs, you get to be a voyeur and watch us take them down. Also, it's real exciting. We've got all these things and tools in place. And the Crisis Cast simulator brings together scripted, simulated, and real-world injects. In other words, installed people, right? They'll meet you. They'll be strangers. They'll approach you, whatever, okay? Using all our principal skills in immersive scenario training. In other words, they put themselves in your life for their so-called training to create a high-octane digital communication event that rapidly embeds the right protocols for the successful social media outcomes from a complex incident. In other words, you got yourself a sticky situation where you're dealing with an innocent person, but that you really need to get rid of. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the people there that are going to divert them, try to distract them, try to get them implicated. Okay, we're going to frame them. We're going to frame them, and it's going to be high octane. All right, we're gonna. Who knows what that means? But digital communication event that rapidly embeds the right protocols, meaning we're going to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. We're going to make sure that we make the books look real well so that way everybody's got clean hands at the end of it because it's a complex incident. Let's take a look at some other things that they say. I mean, this is absolutely sickening. Sickening, sickening, sickening stuff. People are paid lots of money to do this acting jobs, and you've seen them in Craigslist. We dramatize events for emerging security needs, which is also worldwide. It's not just on private scale, but it's large scale as well. It's mainly large scale and on the small scale, which I know I'm dealing with. Because again, they just don't want me to be alive when the money pays out because they're just, there's a big chess game going on between the elites over here and the elites over there. That's all. And they just don't like girls who think for themselves, and they just don't like free-thinking people who aren't doing what they've been told to do, even though they haven't been told to do it. This is just the agenda, guys. That's nothing new. Look, management, resilience, clients, about people. Somebody said to go look at this blog section, which is just sickening. Security and policing. Oh, training events. They teach you how to simulate a terrorist atrocity. Okay. Look at this. How to set fire to a school. What? Orphans. This is sickening. They're basically saying in your face, this is the what I call Luciferian language. They're hiding the truth in plain sight. Under the guise of crisis acting is necessary, kind of like George Soros paying for people to bum rush the borders. You want to know what no one's talking about? I'll tell you what no one's talking about. Everyone's trying to make it about Israel and that whole thing, and then Trump and all of that whole thing. But let's face the music, guys. We've basically got like a Hispanic thing that's going on. I was at Wikipedia the other day and it referred to Mexico as New Spain. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's this book right here. Eaters of Babies. Yeah, absolutely sick and vile. This book describes basically where the Roman Catholic Church has had its hands in all of this. And never went away. And we know that. That's not the one either. It's somewhere around here. Is it this one? Maybe I don't have it right here. Goody two shoes? I don't know. I'll have to find it again. But anyway, this book, The Eaters of Babies, it's describing basically how, oh my gosh, this is one of the center's donation people serving in the LGBT community. Oh, that's good. See that triangle with that dot? So I know I'm all over the place, but that reminds me, I was going to show you about the maps, which I don't think I even got to. Let me pull this in. I really need to learn how to mind my manners here. I've actually watched videos where people went on and on and on and on, so I'm not going to start all over because that would just be a waste of time. So I apologize if I'm dragging things on. I'm going to get better at that. What I wanted to show you was how when we were doing due diligence, which I've done for 20 years in mortgage lending prior to this whole thing started, Google Maps is a really wonderful place to go to see what the Luciferian language is trying to say. Like I said, this is a jail. That place doesn't promote healing. That place doesn't promote anything that looks nice at all. Doesn't even look like they painted it, right? They said they painted it. It doesn't look like they painted it. It's just a jail. That's all it is. So let's go to the regular map. Come on. Here we go. And what's near it? A cemetery. Salvation and Family Services. Okay. Lied dining facilities. What's that? Like where you eat dead people? I mean, that's just not funny, you know? Look at the shape of this building. It reminds me of something. Look at these help apartments. It's just where this is just sickening. This whole thing makes me feel sick to my stomach. What's this? Look at Richard will post Citizens Park. That's not a park. Senior apartments. Look at this. Don't see anything alive around you. Forget that you're alive. Look, this Tonopah Park is a lot nicer than the one for the senior citizens. That just straight tells you we could give a flying fuck. That's what it says. Okay, so I wanted to just show you the trust real quick so that you can see it. This guy is my great-grandfather, and his business got bought by Siemens. He's got patents similar to Nikola Tesla. And he loved his wife, Frances. All of his personal effects and jewelry, house, everything, time of my death. If she doesn't survive me, then I give everything to the children. If she dies before him, then he gives it all to his kids. And if they don't agree, he had 3 sons. Absence of agreement, my corporate executor may think appropriate. So he's got a corporate trustee involved to help settle any disputes. All of his real estate to her and whoever she gives it to forever. All the residual estate, everything, everywhere, I give as follows. To my wife. I give my trustees money to pay the bills for the estate, and then give out the money as follows. All of the income, which is interest received on the millions of dollars, the entire income will be given to her, at least quarterly. He's thinking very liberally. As much of the principal as she may from time to time request in writing shall be paid to her. In other words, she gets all the interest, and if she needs a chunk of money, go get it. Honey, it's all yours. As much as she needs. As much of the principal as the corporate trustee, right, the mediator, may from time to time think desirable for her welfare, comfort, and support. Either shall be paid to her or shall be applied directly for her benefit. In other words, hey, corporate trustee, be a nice guy. Hand out some money to her. Give her gifts. Throw her bonuses. Whatever. Upon her death, it's going to go... So he shall be paid over to such person or persons, including but not limited to my wife's estate, and for the estates in manner in such amounts, proportion my wife may appoint, exercise my wife alone in all events. Okay. If she fails, I've got people in place for that. The trustees, and being correctly annually. To my wife's executor administrator whose written statement as trustees the amount. Right. Okay, so basically they've got the ability to make sure that happens. If my wife fails to exercise effective power, then appointed principal, with the exception of the partial distributable under number C, will be identified as residuary. Okay, so here's now with the rest of that money, I give as follows. During her life, give the income to her. After she's dead, the net income will go to his 3 sons, 1/3. Okay? Plus, the corporate trustee has discretion to give it to either one of his sons and a kid of his own, discretion if necessary. They need the money, help them out. Meaning, not only to the generation I'm talking about, but the generation after that generation. He's very liberal. He's giving liberation, freedom, independence. If his son should die with children, then they get his money. Okay? If a son should die without any kids, then just, disperse it amongst the 2 other brothers, right? He likes generations. He didn't say, put that money aside to the big pile for everybody else to get later. He said, give it to the brothers now. When all the sons will die, okay, and I still have there's one of them still alive, each of which have had children, who've had children, who've had children. When all my sons die, there will be divided trusts, separated, one for each grandchild, then living, which are the people, my mom, her dad's passed away. So in other words, when all the brothers die, all of the, like my mom, my uncles, and the other children of that generation get a trust in their own name. They separate it amongst everybody, all the kids of his 3 children. And one for each of the grandchildren, if they have passed away, for their to the living children of them. And the net income will be paid to the beneficiaries until the distribution of the principal. Now, you can see he has things separated. He's got me, my wife, and our kids. When all the kids are dead, then we're going to take on that era. We're going to separate the trust altogether to the living people, to the living people of each household. And then they'll get the income until the principal pays out, which is $21 years after the death of the last son. It says right here, most importantly, which is what I'm trying to get to. In order to avoid court proceedings for the appointment of guardians for beneficiaries during minority or other disability, I direct that if any minor or any person, right, any of these people between now and when the principal pays out 21 years after the death of the last heir, any minor or any person who, in my corporate trustee's opinion, right, remember the guy that's going to be there to be nice and pass out the money from time to time, is disabled by advanced age, illness, or other condition, becomes entitled to any income or principal under item 4, which is anybody that meets the requirements of my kids, my kids' kids, my kids' kids' kids, and their kids' kids until the principal pays out 21 years after the death of the last heir. All of them. Who becomes entitled as much income or principal or both as the corporate trustee may from time to time think desirable for the support and education of such beneficiary or his or her dependents shall be expended for those purposes by paying bills directly or by payments to the beneficiary, his or her dependents, his or her duly appointed guardian, if they have one, obviously, or any person or institute taking care of the beneficiary, if that's the case. It says, though, in order to avoid court proceedings for the appointment of guardians during a disability, my corporate trustee shall expend. He doesn't want people to have to be given a guardian, sent to an institution, told that they don't deserve to get their issue paid for, like when you're assaulted by a character assassination, by someone targeting you to take you out of your ability to work because you've got to litigate, because you're not going to stop and just leave your daughter in harm's way and say, sorry, honey, I couldn't make it to work. I got to work and I can't afford an attorney. Nope, they put you in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, so that way you're going to lose everything and nobody's going to help you because everyone's going to be brainwashed not to listen to you, and it's just going to go downhill from there. Then you're going to lose everything. Then they're going to accuse you of being a drug addict, alcoholic whore whose life is unstable, and you can't just get off the streets. It's just tactical assault. Now, what did they do? They changed it, and they changed it right after I asked them for help, and they said, I need your signature on that before I can even consider your request. I said, well, I don't know how to read trusts. Is this going to harm me? He said, no, it's an irrevocable trust. We can't do that. We're just doing something that he forgot to do. They're allowed to do it if we're not going to change the core of the trust. We're just doing something that they didn't do back then. He forgot to assign successor trustees. It's nothing. No, he didn't assign a successor trustee because he doesn't want generations to cross paths. His children were raised a certain way and at a certain time in history. Those kids are also from a different generation. And he's got 3 sons. So let's just imagine that the oldest one dies. That's usually the way it happens. Now his 2 kids, his kid, whatever successor trustee gets to come in and start bullying these older guys that aren't as fast as him. They don't have as much education as them and may not even have the same biases as these ones. If this one's prejudice, who knows how the rest of these other guys are? That's what the corporate trustee is there for. Nobody's kids are going to come in and bully the other 2. These brothers have been duking it out all since they were kids, okay? Until they all die, just them and the corporate trustee. That's the way it goes. But no, they forgot to even reiterate that clause that I just read for my benefit. And then what did they do? Slapped in some codes. Said that everybody that signs this document agrees heretofore, assigning my 2 uncles the trustees. And then gives them power to assign more. And then more appointments before the division. and then more appointments before the division, and then more appointments before the division, and then more, and then they all get to get paid? What the motherfucking fuck? There's about 5 pages dedicated specifically to appointing more people who will be basically your Walton, your Bruce Walton, to get access to any money. And they don't have to be bonded or insured from making any mistakes, fiduciarily speaking. We're not agreeing to be fiduciaries. Well, the corporate trustee still is. But I didn't read this closely enough. Maybe they got rid of the corporate trustee. And maybe they haven't said that to me, but they haven't said anything to me. I don't know. I have to read the whole thing. I haven't read it all, and it just really gets my goat. It just really bothers me completely. And I say, look, I said, okay, I'll prove to you that I'm a cooperating person. I'm not. You don't want to harm me. I don't want to harm you. Apparently, you're doing something legal. So good. Now, can you help me? And they ignored me, and they never even submitted anything formally. This is crimes, you guys. Crimes. No attorney will respond to me. My uncle's a real estate attorney. He got access to these things. This is what's being done to people. And it's violence. And I need help to get it to stop. So anyway, please support me. And if there's anybody out there that thinks about light and love and the new earth and getting these bad guys out of there and wants to have somebody like me help them out at their ranch or something like that, I need a safe haven. Seriously. It's pretty sad, but true. All right, guys. Have a good day. Stay aware. I'm going to try to be posting other videos, and I hope that I will be getting better, more fine-tuned. This one I went into a lot of information about like where I'm at. I hope it gets visibility. All right, until next time.